I feel like I'm not doing enough. There's got to be more to my life than this. Do I know my purpose? Am I living in my purpose? You just hear God saying more. You just hear God saying the word more. You don't know what it is. You just know that you feel very discontent. If that is you, you're going to want to stay tuned. Welcome back to the Daily Becoming Podcast. I am your host, sister, friend. I am your auntie, personal transformation coach, Coach Nick. Before we get started, today's drink of choice is a green lavender matcha latte. I learned to make these because I fell in love with the oat milk matchas from Starbucks. Love that I normally would make with oat milk, but I'm out of oat milk, so it's regular milk. Phenomenal. So I started learning how to make them myself ever since. So if you know, you know, drop it down in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But this is amazing. So good to be back with you all. So check this out. I didn't have any plans of doing any uploads until October the 1st. You all know, if you watched the last episode, I had taken some time off because of the death of my dog. And there were a lot of things going on professionally in my work as a housing commissioner. As I explained, this time of the year, it's deadlines. So many things are happening around my city. And in most recent, we've had so many different developments happen. So I was just going to do a big batch recording and start releasing new episodes in October. But it was like, why are you gatekeeping? Why are you keeping what you have been hearing from God, been feeling what you have heard in your spirit, the revelations you've been receiving since the month of September started? And I know you're going to probably see this about, let me see. Today's the 26th, so you're probably going to see this in a few days, and September would have officially been over. But I promise you, what I'm going to tell you, you can pick it up and start it now. You can start it now. So, I have been hearing from God about new chapters and new beginnings and things starting and things ending. And when I say a lot, I've been hearing a lot. Like, my journal is lit up with revelation. And I knew at the end of July that I was literally going to be ending and starting a lot of things. I didn't realize at the speed of these things. I knew that there was a time coming where it was going to be time to start tweaking, changing, redoing, refreshing. Like, a lot of things are going to change, end, and begin. But sometimes when the Lord gives you a revelation, you don't know exactly when the set time is. He's just preparing you in your spirit. The end of August came, and I just felt this newness about to start. What's ironic is, in years past, I would feel this in October. October is the month that I usually just steal away. I am not as active on social media. I am before the Lord, and I am evaluating the year about to leave out and what the goals and plans are for the next year. God also gives me a word and a theme and a mission for the upcoming year. But I started feeling that at the end of August. Here's what I noticed. There are a lot of people feeling that. And they just know it's time for change. One of my homegirls just told me she's about to move. Shout out, because I know you're watching. And I could tell from conversations with her in the last couple of months, like, she could feel it's something. She was missing out on something. She was looking for something to fulfill her life. She had a loss, and she just knew that there was something. And it's that feeling like, for some people, it's as intense as feeling like you're about to crawl up out of your skin. For other people, it is, I feel like I'm not doing enough. There's got to be more to my life than this. Do I know my purpose? Am I living in my purpose? And for others, it could also be, you just hear God saying more. You just hear God saying the word more. You don't know what it is. You just know that you feel very discontent. You feel very unease. You feel very, I got to do something, and there's this anxiousness with it. Well, if that is you, you're going to want to stay tuned, because not only am I going to share with you the things that God has revealed to me, He gave me confirmation. What I love about our God is He doesn't have to, but He will always send you confirmation. Whether it is by a commercial, a billboard that you pass by on the street or highway, a conversation that you have with someone who has no idea what you've been feeling or what you've been talking to God about, and it comes out of their mouth. It could be on a post on social media, but God will send you confirmation. Well, He sent me some confirmation through Mel Robbins. I love her. Almost everything that came out of this woman's mouth on a recent episode of her podcast was what I was hearing or what I was feeling. There is a knowing in your spirit when you know something doesn't feel right, when you know something's like, there's this knowing. And when your entire being is being pulled in another direction, when I tell you, everything will line up with it. I know people, when that time has come, they lost their job and they don't know why. Their relationship ended. They have no idea why. Friendships are starting to end. They don't even know what happened. It's like everything is pointing you to change. Everything begins to point you to a new direction. It's almost like a detour, destiny detour. It's when you've been doing something for so long a certain way. You've been going somewhere for so long all the time. You've been at the same job, been in the same bad relationship. You've had the same bad money habits. You've been procrastinating the same way every single year, even though you keep saying, this is the year I'm going to do it. This destiny detour comes. Sometimes it's the loss of a job. Sometimes it's the loss of a personal relationship. Sometimes it's a change in your health. Sometimes it's a drastic change in your finances that begins to tell you, if you don't start doing something differently, if you don't move from this place, if you don't start making different choices, if you don't start changing your perspective, then X, Y, and Z will happen or continue to happen. But that destiny detour, if you pay attention, if you stay prayerful when changes are happening, if you're starting to feel that anxiety or that unease in your spirit, just stop for a moment and say, God, are you trying to get my attention? God, is it time for me to change? Are you telling me to stop procrastinating when it comes to writing my book? Are you telling me to get this, and this done because coming down the road, I'm about to meet up with some destiny appointments and I need to be prepared? Like I'm telling y'all, it's a knowing. And for some of you watching, you're saying, I'm not sure that that's what it is. I don't even know if I hear from God. Baby, the Lord speaks to us all the time. God will speak to you in your heart. He will speak to you through circumstances. He will speak to you through any means that He needs to that will get your attention. But if you'll just keep taking everything to Him in prayer, and sometimes going in prayer does not mean you doing all the talking. Sometimes going to Him in prayer is, you can go in, worship, do what you need to do, make your request known, and just sit for a little while. But I think it really begins with opening your heart and trusting, opening your heart and trusting that I am going to ask of you. I'm going to inquire of you. I'm going to seek you. I want to know your will. I want to do what you're telling me to do. And knowing in your heart that He's going to answer. And then you listen for the answer. You know, we can tend to think that God's voice sounds like the voice that we would hear on the Ten Commandments. Moses, Moses. You hear His voice in here. We don't know His voice because we either don't spend enough time listening for it, or we either don't spend enough time with Him to know His voice, or you dismiss it thinking that it's something else. But baby, if I tell you, I took everything that I was feeling and hearing in prayer and been taking it in prayer and not wanting to make a move without knowing that I know this is God. I just happened, I'm not, mind you, I'm not Googling the answer. I just happened to turn something on. And the first thing that popped up was this podcast. I've watched her podcast before. I've heard her speak before. But would you not know it? That she is speaking on the very things that I've been hearing from the Lord. And that's what I want to share with you today. Go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Be sure to like and share this. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts down in the comments.
And now, back to the show.
So as you know, we are now in the fall season. And fall is such a special time of the year. It's not hot. It's not too cold. It's right after summer. It's right before the winter. It's right after the summer break and right before we fall into the holiday season. But something else about fall is very, very special. Fall begins in the ninth month, the month of September. And the number 9 represents the end of a cycle. A woman is pregnant for 9 months. When that 9-month cycle has ended, it is time for her to give birth. It's the end of a cycle, but it's the beginning of something new. The end of one chapter, the beginning of a new chapter. The number 9 also represents divine completion, the meaning of finality. And it also represents the full cycle of growth. Let's sit in that for a second. It represents the full cycle of growth. Growth has growing pains. Everything about growth is not always beautiful. Growth comes with the beautiful, the ugly, the nasty, the stank. It comes with the indifference. It comes with some tears. It comes with a lot of joy and laughter. When we've hit that full cycle of growth, it's now time to take all of the lessons that we've learned during this cycle, all of the things that we've picked up, all of the things that we discovered about ourselves, every area that we grew, every area of weakness that became stronger. But you can't keep it in the same place. Once a baby has reached full maturation, the baby cannot continue to live in the mother's womb. The baby has to come out. And when the baby comes out, it begins a new chapter of growth, a new cycle of growth. That is where we are right now. If you didn't learn anything from all the stuff that you have been going through, then you wasted all of the stuff that you've been going through. But I highly encourage you right now to look at everything that you've learned. Some stuff you had to learn with pain. Pain was the driving force and behind it, but it taught you some stuff. It made you stronger. It taught you how not to do this anymore and how to start doing that. Like it took areas of weakness and strengthened them. It showed you areas of weaknesses that need to be strengthened. But now that we've reached the maturation of the end of the cycle of growth, we cannot take all of these things that we've learned right back into the same cycle, right back into the same way that we've been doing things, into the exact same routines, the exact same schedules. We can't do it. You cannot keep putting new wine in old wineskins. It's going to burst. Old cannot contain the new. We can use the symbolism of what we've been going through and where we're headed like leaves falling off of a tree. Now, trees release leaves to conserve water during the winter. But where we are, you feeling like this is not comfortable anymore. I'm anxious because I need to be doing more. I feel change is coming. I feel like I'm being pulled over a new direction. Look at that as leaves are trying to fall off. Leaves that you no longer need. Leaves that will not nurture you in the new season. Leaves that will choke you in the new season. Leaves that will take from you in the new season. I hear you, Holy Spirit. See, trees are smart. They release leaves to not have to supply those leaves with water because winter is coming. And that's their way of self-preservation. Things that are falling off of you right now is all about self-preservation and where you are going. But it's also about knowing when to let things go, when to let things fall off, because you can't take them in the new season with you. You don't need to keep trying to supply your energy and your knowledge and your relationship and your love and your time and your health to everything but what God wants you to do, to everyone that won't appreciate it, to everything that's sapping life out of you. You don't need to take that into the next season. That's where we are. We are shedding and birthing and releasing and letting go and starting new. We're ending some stuff, and it's time for a new cycle. What is it time for? What needs to be new in your life? What is it that you it's time? What is it time for you to let go of? It's time for you to let go of something. This fall, this next 4 months, well, we're at 3 now if you're watching this in October. But this season of fall is the season of you. It is a time to be selfish. Thank you, Mel Robbins. She said it's a time to be selfish. It's a season of you. Y'all, the confirmation. The confirmation. It is the season of you. And let me tell you, I'm giving you permission. This is your sign today to be selfish. Because you give to everything and everyone all the time, from your job to your kids to your spouse to your family to your friends. Dadgummit, you give it to social media, but you give all the time. This season, this new season that we're in, you got to let things go right now. This season that you're in is about being selfish. It's about being you. It's about putting all of your energy into becoming the best and highest version of yourself. What you want to be next year is going to depend on what you're doing right now in this season. It's going to depend on you allowing yourself the permission to say, it's about me right now. This new season is about me right now, and I want to grow at an exponential rate. Some things will take time, but I'm going to put in effort. I'm going to put in intention. I am going to be intentional about me becoming better. I'm going to be intentional about this season of my life, this chapter of my life. This chapter of my life is called Nikki. This chapter of my life is called my error. This chapter of my life is called me. And it's so very important, so very important. And for somebody that's thinking, well, that ain't scriptural, that ain't God. Well, listen, my Bible tells me Jesus, he did stillaways. There were times where he went off by himself. This is your season and your time to focus and go off by yourself. You need to pray. You need to be fasting if you're led to do that. You need to be journaling. You need to be attentive to hearing the voice of God because you need direction. He's moving you. For sure, he is moving you. You need direction on which way to go. Feeling burnt out, stressed, overwhelmed, and overworked? Well, imagine yourself escaping to a place where you can truly relax and recharge. A place where stress melts away and your only worry is which beach to visit next. I'm Nikki Johnson, the host of the Daily Becoming podcast, and I want to help you uncover the magic of travel as part of your self-care, a vital part. Travel isn't a luxury that's just for the wealthy. And I know, may seem out of reach, but whether you're a single mother, living on a fixed income, or just dreaming of your next vacation, you can save up to 70% off on amazing getaways, unforgettable experiences, and memories that will last a lifetime. Affordable and absolutely tangible. These vacations aren't dreams. They are real opportunities to rejuvenate, explore vibrant cities, and have an incredibly great time doing it. Are you ready to start your self-care journey? Text self-care to 650-881-4402 and discover how you can travel more, spend less, and live better. Your perfect getaway is just a text away. Text self-care to 650-881-4402 now to discover how affordable self-care through travel can be. Because you deserve to take care of yourself without breaking the bank. And now back to the show. And you have to be paying attention. You have to always be paying attention. Side note, make sure you're being watchful over distractions. Make sure you're being watchful. And you don't want to tell too many people what God is telling you to do. Now, Always seek the counsel. Always seek counsel from men and women of God that you can absolutely trust, and you know that they have your best interest at heart. There is great wisdom and good sound counsel. But just be mindful of everybody else, because what you want to do is make God moves, not just good moves. What you want to do is make moves that are being led step by step by the Lord leading you. And He'll do it. He will do it. I promise you. I promise you He will do it. But you want to be able to hear where your next resource is coming from. You want to be able to hear what's the next door. Am I going left? Am I going right? Yes. One of the things that Mel talked about was taking advantage of the back to school energy, because there's something called the back to school effect. There is something about this time of the year where we all start to fall into routines. We're either falling back into routines because the summer came. We were very lax. We didn't have to keep to our routines. We were taking vacations, spending time with families. We didn't have to get the kiddos up early and get them ready to go off to school. So everything was kind of laid back. Dinner was laid back. Our workouts were laid back. Our health, everything was just laid back. We chilled. It was hot. And it was hot. Fall comes, the back to school effect kicks in, and there is this energy that's in the air, in your city, in your neighborhood, in your family. Even it's about getting the kids ready. It's about coming up with new routines. It's about falling back into routines and creating schedules and changing up our time management techniques. It's about newness and new beginning and freshness. We go buy our kids new school clothes. If we're college students, we go buy new school supplies. I mean, forbid we use the same stuff we used last year. There is something in this back to school effect that moves us in our inward being to go start fresh. It's new beginnings. It's new shoes. It's new bras. It's new pencils. It's new crayons for the kids. It's new backpacks. Because honestly, that is the fresh and new start. And she made a really great point. We're used to our new beginning starting in January because it's the beginning of a new year. However, and but in January, there is this spark in the air of making new resolutions, creating new goals, creating new mindsets and mission statements that doesn't last until about March. We all kick in gear with what we're going to do over a 12-month period. But by the third or fourth month of that year, gym memberships have fallen off. Our goals have fallen off. Our time management is a little unbalanced. We kind of lean in the stuff that we're doing. Those vigor, healthy habits have changed into, I can have this. It'd be okay if I eat this. Everything begins to fall off. Here's how she explained it. There's something called the Parkinson's Law. And basically, what that means is the shorter amount of time to be productive, the more productive you're going to be. So, in our minds, we're saying in 2025, starting January the 1st, I am going to become better with my time management all year. I'm going to save money this year. I'm going to work out 3 times a day this year. What you just gave yourself was 364 days to complete one goal. For a lot of people, it does work. And this is not, I'm not bashing that if that's what you want to do. But if you were to say from October the 1st until December 31st, that is 3 months to get something done. And what our brains is we focus on the time that we have. Instead of me saying I have this year to do it, I have 3 months. I have 90 days to do this. I have 90 days to complete my book. I have 90 days to go write up my business plan. The way our brains work is we begin to vigorously work toward accomplishing that goal. Does that mean you stop? You don't make another goal after December? Absolutely not. But you're breaking up long-term goals into shorter times. And according to Parkinson's law, the shorter amount of time to be productive, the more productive you're going to be. Something else she said that really grabbed my attention. When goals get set, they only last about 3.74 months. She said that there was a study that came out that said when people set goals, the attention span of keeping those goals is about 3.74 months, right at about 4 months. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. And that's why people set goals in January for the whole year, but they give up just shy of 4 months. So if I'm being honest with Nikki, it's a lot of stuff that I said on December 31st of last year that I was going to knock out and kill in 2024. Several of those things were, I had stopped by April and I was restarting again. And as I was thinking about this before I even saw her podcast, I would start it and be vigorous with it and do this and that with it. And then something would happen and I fall off. Or I give myself a reason, an excuse, and I fall off. When I heard her talk about Parkinson's law, I said, you know what? I'm going to try that. Shorter amount of time to accomplish something, the more amped I'm going to be to accomplish it. And what better time to do it than right now in the fall? If I wait until January, I wait till after I'm exhausted from the holidays. We've traveled, we've seen family, family has come in. We spent a lot of money on food, people spend a lot of money on gifts. And although it is a great time of celebration to begin the new for the new year, by January, I want to be starting a new set of 4 month goals. That'll take me from winter into spring and then starting a new set of goals. I want to take advantage of this back to school energy that's in the air. Everybody's preparing for the new that happens in the fall. So everything from the television to the media, to the retail store, to the grocery stores, to the conversations you're having with your friends, everything in your environment and in our world is in this synergy right now of new and starting over. There's going to be a lot of things catering to this new energy that I want to jump into the flow of. So by January, I'm already in the flow and I'm about to flow on into what God has for me next come January. Why not fall into the flow of that right now? Why not let this be the new beginning that you start for yourself this year? Don't wait until January. You can start it right now. And I got to tell you, you are worth letting this fall season become you falling in love with yourself, falling in love with growing, falling in love with you becoming better, falling in love with what God has called you to do, falling in love with letting go of what's not good for you, falling in love with taking time for yourself, falling in love with spending time with yourself to understand you, to understand what you need, to understand what you want out of life. Many of us are in brand new chapters. We're becoming empty nesters. We're having grandchildren now. We're divorcing. Our parents are passing away. We're taking care of our parents. You need to take time to see what is it that you need. This fall needs to be you falling in love with you being selfish and you taking care of you. And this is right on time for us right now because at the time that I'm recording this, October is next week. So this is a right on time message. What goals can you set for yourself? For yourself over the next 3 months. Focus on what can I do now to become better? What can I do right now that my January 1st, 2025 me will be grateful that I did? What can I do now that my January 1st, 2025 me will be congratulating me on? What does that best version of me look like? And then what can I do now to make that happen? What steps can I take to make that manifest? I don't care if it's you getting counseling for the next 3 months. I don't care if it's you reading some self help books to help you with your temper. What is it that you can do in the next 3 months that will make those things a reality? This probably sounds very scary because shorter time shorter time frames to complete goals puts the responsibility directly in your lap. It holds you accountable to you to know that I need to get busy because I only have 90 days. That may be a little scary because it leaves very little room for procrastination. It leaves very little room for excuses. It leaves very little room for you to not prioritize yourself or your time or your goals. Let me tell you something about priorities and routines. They give you the say no courage. They give you the get your stuff together because you have to do this tomorrow courage. They are constant reminders in your ear that you have to make sure everything is in line and you're doing your part, and you are keeping with what your schedule says you have to do, because if you don't, things will fall apart. If you don't, things will not go right. I'm not going to lose myself. I want to put that energy into making sure that I'm the perfect me. I am the best me that I can be. I'm not going to put me on the back burner anymore, because right now I'm going to start prioritizing me. What do you need to start changing? What on your priority list needs to get moved down or moved off? Because I can see, looking at your list, you are nowhere in the top 10. For some of you, you're not even on the list. I don't want anybody to hit me up with, I don't want to hear, you don't have time, you can't do that. It's selfish, baby. You put so much time into everything else, into everybody else. Everything is a priority but you. That's out of order. The word says that love begins at home and is spreads abroad. That doesn't mean you can't give and be there for other people. That's not what I'm saying. But when are you going to be there for you? When do you give to you? When do you make the space for God? And when do you make the space for you? If you make the space for you, you might find that you want to talk to you about some things. You wants to tell you to sit down somewhere because you is tired. You wants to release and heal some things that you have been suppressing. Maybe that's why you won't slow down long enough. I'm going to end it by saying this. Make fall a selfish time for you. Let this be a semester of change. I love that. Make it a semester of change. I would love to see this as a semester, because when I was going to school, semesters were important to me. I put my all into each and every semester. I was excited when they began. I worked very hard throughout them. And when they ended, I was even more excited. Let's look at this next chapter of our lives as a semester. The semester of full growth, full change, new beginnings, being selfish, taking care of us, personal development, growth, love, self care, and healing. Because where God is taking us, we cannot take these old, crunchy leaves. We cannot take these old, crunchy mindsets. We cannot take these old, crunchy habits. Mm-mm. We're not we're not taking this in the new season with us. We're not going to be laissez-faire. We're not going to just settle. We're not going to say, oh, well. We're going to say, no, if it's not going right, what do I need to do to fix it? We're coming out of our pity parties. We're getting off the pity pots. It's enough of that. It's enough of that. We're going to dry our tears. We've cried long enough. We're going to stop focusing on what we lost and what's not going right. We've done that enough. And what we focus on keeps growing. What we put energy in will grow. We're going to take this momentum. We're going to take this knowing in our spirit that it's time for something new, something different is going to happen. And we are going to flow into that. Daily becoming. I'm so excited about this new semester of change. I am so excited about all this confirmation that God has been giving us. I'm so grateful that we have in our spirit this knowing that something different is about to happen. I'm excited that God has not forgotten about us. I'm excited that He loves us so very much, that He cares about where He's taken us, because He knows in these new chapters it's some stuff that belongs to us, some stuff that we've been praying about, some stuff we've been praying for and waiting for. And it was always waiting on us. And instead of God saying, well, you don't want it, don't worry about it, He's like, baby, I'm going to keep knocking and knocking and knocking at your spirit. I'm going to keep messing with your sleep. I'm going to keep having you feel uneasy and uncomfortable. Stuff that you've been doing for years, you're now uncomfortable with doing. Praise God for that. That is growth. And I'm so thankful that He has gotten us through this ninth month of September, entering us not only into the fall season, but exiting us out of cycles, ending cycles, bringing us to the full cycle of our growth. and moving us into the new. Dearly becoming, welcome to your new semester of you. This is a beautiful selfish time. This is a beautiful time of rebirth. It's the death of things that are no longer needed or necessary, and the birth of things that we've been praying and dreaming about, wanting and desiring. This is it. I desire better health. I desire to lose weight. I desire to be more consistent. I desire to become a more powerful community member in my city. I desire, like, what are your desires? You desire to be a better mother? You desire to go back to school. You desire to start your business. You desire to pick that business back up because you gave up on it. What do you desire? This is it. This is our time. And this is our season, our semester of new beginning. Never forget how much God loves you and how much I love you. And remember that becoming is beautiful. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been holding on to that for a minute. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Or if you would like to shoot me an email, you can email me at dearlybecomingpod@gmail.com. And of course, if you have not subscribe to this YouTube channel. Be sure to like and share this with someone that you know needs to begin their semester of change, selfishness, and new beginning. I love you all, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.